And India, Russia, China, Brazil and South Africa. They form one of the world's most important economic blocs. The BRICS Head of State and Government Summit in South Africa's Johannesburg, it seeks to widen its influence and also push for a shift in global geopolitics. Yesterday, Narendra Modi and Xi Jinping flanked South African President Ramaphosa for a family photo at the leaders' retreat. However, now the question here is, will the Indian Prime Minister and the Chinese President hold talks on the sidelines of the summit? Well, in recent years, the border between China and India has become the site of growing tensions. Chinese aggression has sparked clashes along the most rugged mountainous border known as the line of actual control. And amid Xi Jinping's irrational territorial ambitions, both the sides have increasingly militarized their border and also shown no indication of backing down anytime soon. Well, the situation on the border remains tense due to China's violation of the norms. Beijing and New Delhi are hardening their positions on either side of the line of actual control. India's firm peace and tranquility in border areas is extremely essential. New Delhi says it is fully prepared and committed to protecting sovereignty and dignity. Now, Xi skipped a BRICS business forum despite the presence of counterparts like Cyril Ramaphosa, Brazilian President Lula da Silva and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister Modi also described India as a welcome destination for investment. Take a listen.
इस बात में कोई संदेह नहीं कि आने वाले वर्षों में भारत विश्व का ग्रोथ इंजन होगा। यह इसलिए है क्योंकि भारत ने आपदा और मुश्किलों के समय को आर्थिक सुधार के अवसर में परिवर्तित किया। पिछले कुछ वर्षों में हमने मिशन मोड में जो रिफॉर्म्स किए हैं, उनसे भारत में ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस में लगातार बढ़ोतरी हुई है। हमने कंप्लायंस बर्डन को कम किया है, रेड टेप को हटाकर रेड कारपेट बिछा रहे हैं।
Meanwhile, Putin decided against attending in person as he is the target of an international criminal court arrest warrant that South Africa is in theory bound to enforce. In addressing the business forum, the Russian president said that BRICS works for the global majority. He said that Russia would remain a reliable food supplier to Africa and was finalizing talks on providing free grain to a group of African countries, as he promised at a summit in St. Petersburg last month. The promise came after Russia pulled out of a deal that had enabled Ukraine to export grain from its Black Sea ports. And after the grain deal exit, it repeatedly bombed the Ukrainian ports and grain stores, leading Kiev and the West to accuse it of using food as a weapon of war in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Now, BRICS was founded as an informal club in 2009 in a bid to provide a platform for its members to challenge a world order dominated by US and its Western allies. Its creation was initiated by Russia. Now, as per the UN data, the BRICS grouping represents more than 1/4 of the global GDP and 42% of the world's population. Majorly, the BRICS have seen their economic influence increase over the past decades as drivers of global growth, trade and investment. The bloc operates by consensus. All the BRICS countries are a part of the G20 of major economies. Some 50 other leaders who are not BRICS members, including Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi and also the Indonesian President Joko Widodo, are also attending the South Africa talks. Now, at least 40 countries have shown their interest in becoming members, with 23 having submitted their applications already. Some of the countries aspiring to be BRICS members includes Argentina, Bangladesh, Bahrain, Cuba, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Iran, Nigeria and Saudi Arabia. Now, the bloc aspirants view BRICS as an alternative to the global bodies viewed as dominated by the traditional Western powers. They hope that the membership will unlock benefits, including development, finance, and also increased trade and investment. Now, the dissatisfaction with the global order among developing nations was exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. That is, when the life-saving vaccines were hoarded by the rich countries. Now, as mentioned earlier, the Chinese President Xi Jinping skipped a BRICS business forum yesterday. And this despite the presence of Cyril Ramaphosa, Brazilian President Lula da Silva, and also the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. There was no explanation for Xi Jinping's absence given, however. The Chinese Commerce Minister read Xi Jinping's message, which stated that emerging countries are being blocked and suppressed. The president said that the gathering in South Africa was not to engage in confrontation, but to create a grand pattern of peaceful development. Take a listen.
Facts have shown that the continuous expansion of military alliances, the expansion of a country's own sphere of influence, and the squeezing of the security space of other countries will inevitably lead to a security dilemma, resulting in insecurity for all countries. Only by adhering to a new security concept that is common, comprehensive, cooperative, and sustainable can we walk the path of universal security.
The Chinese president's non-appearance at the BRICS Business Summit has raised eyebrows. Beijing is pushing the BRICS to become a full-scale rival to the G7, and Xi Jinping wants the grouping to be China-dominated. Experts say that countries such as Algeria, Argentina, Egypt and Iran see BRICS membership as a means, above all, to gain easier access to the Chinese investment and also the financial support.
May I warmly welcome the Excellencies.
And for more on the 15th BRICS Summit, we are now being joined by correspondent Calden Ogmu. She joins us live from Johannesburg. Hi, Calden. A very good morning to you. Now, yesterday we saw various statements coming out of the BRICS Summit regarding de-dollarization and also the expansion of the bloc. Talk to us about what does the schedule look like today?
Well, Rahisa, is going to be an action-packed, eventful day today. The leaders of the BRICS are set to be speaking at least thrice. So let me take you through the schedule here that has been given to the media. We have two sessions today. One is going to be an open plenary session and one is going to be a closed plenary session. Formally, it's going to begin at 10 a.m., we are told, by the program that we've been given. The first one is a closed plenary session that they're going to be discussing BRICS and Africa partnerships, and thereafter there is statements that will be given by the BRICS leaders. After that, we have open plenary session starting at 11 a.m. So that they say there will be a photograph of all the leaders, and then again statements will be made by the leaders from the BRIC countries. Then they have a leaders engagement with the New Development Bank. They will also be engaging with the BRICS Business Council. The leaders will be engaging with the BRICS Women's Business Alliance. And thereafter that, we have responses again from the BRIC leaders. So that will be thrice. So then we are told later on towards the day, there will be a press briefing by the chair, the host of the BRICS, that is South Africa. President Cyril Ramaphosa will be briefing the media as well. And after that, the day is going to be closed with the cultural program. So let's expect a very hectic and eventful day.
Absolutely, Calden. That sounds like quite a hectic schedule out there on day 2 of the BRICS Summit. But Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also be participating in the BRICS Africa outreach and also the BRICS Plus dialogue. How do you see growing India and South Africa relations in today's time?
Well, Rahisa, if we go by what Indians as well as the African leaders, specifically South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has been speaking over the last few days, we know that India and South Africa and Africa as a whole share very unique relationship, you know, and that can help steer BRICS in promoting global stability and equitable growth. So under current realities, when, you know, the two countries, it only makes for them to come together. And you're speaking about African continent as a whole. If you go back to what President Cyril Ramaphosa spoke yesterday during the Leaders Business Forum statement, he made sure that he was not speaking on behalf of only South Africa, he was speaking on behalf of Africa, stating to the BRICS leaders that Africa continent is huge, there's a huge untapped territory. So he asked investors to come in, saying, you know, Africa, the BRICS can be, can have an opportunity to be, you know, Africa Africa's growth development. And South Africa, during the time when it's facing some significant economic headwinds, and with the past, what India has done over the past. Yesterday you heard Narendra Modi speaking about the growth trajectory that India has made. African continent can only learn from India. So I think at this given point of time, both the countries do believe that India and Africa, they need each other. Rahisa?
Right, Callum, last question to you before we let you go. We've been talking about how the Chinese president missed the BRICS Business Forum. Have you picked anything from the Chinese side as to why did the Chinese president give a miss to the BRICS Business Forum which took place yesterday?
I think since last evening, since that business forum, everybody has that one question on why the Chinese president missed the business forum, despite he participated in the state visit of President Cyril Ramaphosa in the morning in Pretoria. So this morning also everybody wants to know where is Xi Jinping. We do not have a word from the Chinese authorities on where he was. We've been trying to make calls to sources, but everybody is tight-lipped. Could he have been tired after the state visit? We don't know. But last evening he was present at the leaders' retreat. It was, of course, the first time the Chinese president and Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, they met face-to-face yesterday. Today, let's just hope he's not going to skip the sessions that's there. The leaders I previously mentioned, at least thrice they will be speaking. So let's see if he makes his way today for all the sessions that he's been slated to speak.
Right, Calvin, there's a lot of buzz regarding Modi and Xi Jinping meet as well. But thank you so much for joining us on WION and sharing insights with us. We'll, of course, be tracking this big story here on WION.